Nope, gotcha. Yeah, my mic is on. Haha. Anyway, folks, look, fun show. Yeah, I'm actually excited. I mean, I'm excited about each one, but this one's actually really exciting to me because I love seeing almost like what happened then, what's happening now, going on. Because we're going to be talking about a very fun topic. But as always, I need help. More ways than one. I need help. I gotta figure this out. It's the doorbell. Got to see who the Robert. Happy Wednesday, sir.
Happy Wednesday.
Look, so we have a show. We got a fun topic. But we need somebody else to talk about. Obviously, Jabba should be here now. Obviously, is it Jabba? Okay. Look, we have this fun show. It's your topic. Robert, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jabba, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I am ready. New headphones are on. I've got a Brooklyn boxing t-shirt. Had this t-shirt for actually longer than most relationships I've had, honestly. And it's been way more faithful to my body. So look, we're going to have a fun, I don't care, we're going in on this one. We're going to have a good time. Folks, are you ready? You know the rules.
Ready.
Let's go. Hello, folks, and welcome to the Summer of Geek presented here on the Hungry Bleak channel. You know what it is. This is our summer series. We're just having fun talking about different things, having guests on, going through it. It's hot. So we're trying to bring you something very cool. But enough of that. Let's start with the introductions. I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room. You can take that however you like.
I am Jabba Chan with new headphones. New headphones.
On braids.
I'm Robert, the second space opera loving writer.
And folks, look, this is an episode that's going to be really cool. But this was your pick, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So what's today's show about?
So pretty much because we are in like the midst of like remakes and reboots, and it's like pretty much like kind of like a who did it better? Do we keep the old or do we like the new? And like reasons why. So that's what today's topic is.
So on that note, because it is your topic, why don't you give us your first one?
Okay, so my first one is going to be Cinderella. And mind you, I have to break it down to three parts because there's technically three Cinderella live actions. Two of them are the Roger Hammerstein version, and the first one is starring with Julie Andrews from the 1957 version. Then there's the one with Brandy Whitney Houston from the 1997 version. And then there's 2015 that I don't talk about. It's just, we leave it at Brandy and that's it. We don't go anymore. I said what I said.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say about that. Yeah.
So don't look behind that curtain. Don't look at.
Said what I said.
As a matter of fact, just leave the room. Just leave the room and just go on downstairs and get some cake, baby. We're gonna be all right. You go get some cake. You don't worry about what's happening in there. Just grow up over this. We're gonna handle this. You go downstairs and get some cake, baby.
I mean, like my reason is because like the one with Julie Andrews, like kind of like the start off with like Cinderella, because like you only know maybe like the animation that Disney did, so you don't know the actual like live action. And I don't mind Julie Andrews. I love her. But then when they brought in the 1997 one, which had Brandy, Whitney Houston, Whoopi Goldberg, like it was a very diverse cast, and because it was people like us, which I enjoyed so much, and that was it. And that was my first Disney princess. Damn it, my black first Disney princess. That's it. So if I had to, I would stick with the 97 version, but I still pay homage to the 57 version, and 2015 kick rocks. So what is that?
It's fair enough. Yeah, Julie Andrews, I mean, just is iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's so many things that you can say about Julie Andrews, just iconic. But yeah, having the duo of Brandy and Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And at that time, yeah, definitely.
It's kind of ahead of its time, basically.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
It truly was. So that's a great one. Wait, her mother, Cinderella's mother, was it? Wait, no. Her
Brenda
was her
Peters.
father. Was her father played by Victor Garber?
Um, he was in it. I can't remember what role he played. I think
Wait, are you talking about?
the
Are you talking
princess.
about?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that was the prince's father.
the prince's father. I
Oh,
think
the
it was the
prince's
prince.
father.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I
Yeah.
remember him being in there. Because when he shows up, I automatically just look and go, "Is that Victor Garber?" Because he plays roles that you don't think he's supposed to be in, but
Yeah.
he does such a great job. You should go, "Okay, yeah, of course, yeah, all right." Cool. He
Yeah.
he's
Like,
just
what's
one of those.
Professor Stein doing here?
I'm saying, bro showed up in Power. I was like,
You're
"What are
right.
you doing here?" That was the most awkward. I was like, and yet did the role wonderfully. I was like, "Why would I
Yeah.
doubt Victor? Why would I doubt him? Why?" What I don't doubt is Robert has got an awesome choice for this right now.
So for me, I'm gonna start with "In the Heat of the Night." I am a huge fan of the movie and a big fan of the TV show. The movie focuses on a black detective who just happens to be in a small, I think it's a Mississippi town,
That
and
feels right. That
yeah,
feels
yeah. It's, I mean, it's
feels right.
racist enough, right? So, it's so much racism, but he finds himself in a small town and being brought in to solve a mystery. But the thing is like this is a deep South during like the 1960s. So this Philadelphia black detective is constantly being questioned about his capability to do his job, and it's definitely a movie that has really good social commentary, kind of highlighting the racial dynamics and the cultural dynamics of the time, but then also it is just a good murder mystery. Like it is like one of those types of murder mysteries where it it kind of embodies the deep South, where it's just like there's another one, is another mystery I'm thinking about, but it's just like kind of a down home murder, and that's the best way I could describe it. And the I'm forgetting the actor's name. I don't know. I'm having a hard. Sidney Poitier does a really good job in the role. Rod Steiger as the sheriff. I think it's Sheriff Chief Gillespie, and for some reason somebody decided, well, let's turn this movie into an entire TV series, which is still set in Sparta, Mississippi, and that one ran from 88 to 1995. And it becomes a kind of a cop drama where they're focusing on different crimes, but it still kind of keeps that same vibe of the racism, the cultural dynamics. Even I think they even get to like economic kind of strata or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is still just a southern set murder mystery or crime drama of the week. And I don't know, like In the Heat of the Night I remember watching it as a kid when it was on, but then also I remember when it was being shown on reruns. Like my mom would always be like, it was like that, LA Law, and like Law and Order, which my mom was like killing.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat of the Night, because it's not set in a major metropolitan city, that was different for me. Like it was set in like this small town in the South, and I had never been to the South, like Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. So this was kind of like my introduction to like a fictional city. And shout out to Georgia because they apparently filmed the show here in Georgia. But yeah, it's they both were really good. It's kind of hard for me to choose which one is better because I think they both have their kind of reasons why each are like really, really awesome to watch. But if you're looking for something that is not your standard like big city murder mystery type of show, watch the movie, but then also check out the TV show. It is dated, so there's stuff that may not like vibe, as like back in the day. But also shout out a comic book connection, Jeffrey Thorne.
Yes.
Jeffrey Thorne played a sheriff. I think he was a deputy on the show. He was an actor and has gone on to now become a big time comic book writer, screenwriter. I think he's written some Power. He's done Law and Order. He's done Black Panther cartoon animated series. But he got his start on In the Heat of the Night as Sweet. So
Yeah.
with that section. But yeah, that was one original and one remake, and they both were really solid. Definitely recommend checking them out.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal. The
Yeah.
series for me, I remember it just being on,
Mm-hmm.
like, because NBC at that time was running things.
Yes.
NBC was running stuff. It's late night, like those nighttime dramas. Having like Carol O'Connor
Yes.
on there,
Yep.
who unfortunately, from if you hear him speak, he was such a great like speaker and everything like that. But we know him for almost these racist roles between
Mm-hmm.
Archie Bunker and then Chief
Gillespie, I think.
Gillespie.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Howard Rollins, who played Tibbs.
Mm-hmm.
This was a great show. I love it. It's just one of it was a simpler time. I remember the show and being a kid and just being like, sometimes I wish it could go back to that.
Yeah.
But that, you know what I mean? It's just but yeah, those are two great choices. Shout out to both of them. It did hit a lot of points with race and economics. There was even an episode where Tibbs, I'm trying to remember her name, excuse me, Anna Maria Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
who played Athea, was sexually assaulted on the episode, and they go with that whole thing, and it shows her trauma and what happens to her, and her husband Tibbs trying to figure it out. That's one of the most soul crushing episodes, because I think a lot of people didn't like her character in general, like before that, what have you. But then I watched that episode and I was like, seeing the attack and then seeing the aftermath of groceries, all because she had just went grocery shopping,
and it just dropped.
There are broken eggs on the ground, and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so heartbreaking. And then seeing the way she portrayed the trauma of what was happening afterwards, and how she didn't want him to touch her, and he couldn't figure out why. And it's just little things like that. Like at that time, we didn't know as much about the trauma of being sexually assaulted. I mean, I shouldn't say that, excuse me. That was a poor choice of words, and I apologize. We weren't shown the trauma of what happens during or after a sexual assault. And the way it was portrayed was so heartbreaking. I remember that episode was burned into my head. And I was watching, I was like, wow. And this was maybe a few years ago that I saw this episode. It was on, I think, like Me TV or something like that. And I was getting ready to go somewhere, and I just happened to be watching. I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. And I was watching it. Worst episode I could watch, obviously. But it was just so, and I was like, this show really covered everything. Unfortunately, some of you online, you will know one particular clip from the show where a gentleman has had sex with a young woman, and Gillespie says a line where the guy goes, well, she's 18. And he goes, well, yeah, but she's, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, that one I don't know.
There's one where the guy says, oh, well, she's 18, but Gillespie goes, oh, but she's R word, the word that we don't use. I think the character had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
But in that time, people were using the R word to describe anyone that. And I was watching, and I was like, oh, it's a meme, a GIF guide for whatever you want to. That's been online forever, and it's the randomness of it. You go, wow, we were really just saying anything at that time.
Yeah.
Well, so what I thought you were going to mention, as far as like the more recognizable like meme or GIF, is from the movie where when the white man smacks Mr. Tibbs, and then Mr. Tibbs reaches back like this, like the Ryu Cyclops, and just smacks the fuck out of that old guy. And the black servant looks at Mr. Tibbs like, yo. So I mean, because that one makes the rounds, but that was, once again, that was representative of kind of the racial dynamics in this, in the South, at least how they were depicting it. But look for that clip where Mr. Tibbs smacks that heck out of.
He's like, and my man says, he's like, Gillespie, what are you going to do about it? He said, I'm not sure yet. I've never seen nothing like this before.
It's like, that's like seeing a black person on a horse.
For real.
For
it was. So on a lighter note, I'm going to go with Voltron. This is a series that was near and dear to my heart as a kid, but also with the DreamWorks series that was on Netflix. Now, there have been many iterations of Voltron, actually, but I'm going to talk about two in particular. We have the one, excuse me, which was from, I want to say, I'm trying to find the years, 20, and it went for 8 seasons, 2016 to 2018, which, like I said, was DreamWorks. But then the original Voltron was in 84, I want to say. But that was based on a series, an anime series from Japan called Beast King Go Lion. When I looked up the both of them, this series, the Go Lion series, was more representative of what Voltron Legendary Defender was.
Okay.
The American version of Voltron, the very first one, was so heavily cut and edited that it doesn't like really resemble anything from the original series. But then when I look it up, the Voltron Legendary Defender series was based more on Go Lion, where the lions were almost sentient. There was almost like a magic, but they were like a sentient being there. Like maybe not necessarily talking, but they had awareness, just like they did in Legendary Defender. Legendary Defender was so great. Like I said, it went 8 seasons. I watched it every year.
Yeah.
Like I would watch it over and over again. When a new season would come up, I would go, darn, I guess I got to rewatch all the previous seasons. Oh, my life. And it became my go-to comfort watch. And I would watch, like I would be cleaning or cooking, something like that. And I would have either that or Castlevania. But before Castlevania, there was Voltron. I'm going to go with the DreamWorks version because it had such depth to it and such character development, which they unfortunately had cut out from Go Lion. Probably similar to what they did with Gotcha Man, which here was known as Battle of the Planets, which is also a favorite of mine. Those were those two and Gigantor were my introduction to anime as a kid. But I didn't know what anime was. I just knew it was this different style of animation and art, and the way the characters move was so crazy. And I would like emulate some of the movement because it was so different from watching Flintstones or G.I. Joe or Jetsons. It had Hanna-Barbera had a lock on animation here. God damn. So it was just beautiful to see these story arcs, and they dealt with everything from race to gender identity to economics to everything, war, the post-traumatic stress of it all, even like sexuality, where a character was very heavily queer coded. I think in the last episode we finally got confirmation. This series just did so much, and I remember some people going, I don't know about it. I'm like, go watch this series. I promise you, go watch it. And they would wait like 4 seasons. I'm like, go watch. They'd watch it, and then they go, oh wow, I ended up binging it all. I was like, yeah, it's that good. This was one of the best things on Netflix. Unfortunately, it was not a Netflix original series like so many of us thought. So it left Netflix maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I want to say about. It's not streaming anywhere that I know of.
Tubi. I'm just throwing Tubi out there.
It's not, because if I would have, my algorithm for Tubi is on lock. They've showed me nothing but stuff that I know I want to see. Especially a lot of anime, because there's a lot of anime stuff out there that it's just in the wind and it's on there. But I would go Voltron Legendary Defender. It's one, if you can find it, watch it. Watch as many episodes as you can, or however many are available at that time, or wherever you're watching it to. I definitely strongly recommend it. It's a series that has great humor, phenomenal action, space opera like activities, and just the most beautiful animation and writing there, and the character development and depth is so on point. And there are some really great nods to Voltron series, like the character Sven and how there are different flips on that. I definitely recommend this series. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, Voltron was a good one to watch. I mean, I knew of like Voltron, like the older one, but what kicked me off on it was because it was the same animators for Legend of Korra, so the style was matching that. So that's what I'm like, oh, and it was like right after Korra finished, where this one starts. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and then like I got hooked on it, and I think I forgot his name. One of the Voltron characters is like my Netflix profile. That's how long I've had it for.
Is it Pidge?
No. What's the guy with the white streak of hair? I think he got kidnapped and then he came back and he's he's manipulated.
Yeah, because he was the character that was substituted for
He
Sven.
had a Tommy Oliver moment where like he was bad and he became good
Yeah.
again or whatever. I forgot his name.
My God, I should
Shiro?
know this.
Is
Yes,
it
yes,
Shiro?
yes. Shiro.
Shiro,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Shiro, who became who was the Black Lion? He was the leader, and how
Yeah.
they even developed that into Keith becoming the leader and becoming
Yeah.
the. And it shows he's still wearing red while in the Black Lion, which as a kid we could never friggin' figure that out. Like, why are you wearing? It never made sense. It never made.
There,
But in this series, it goes, oh, that's depth. Yeah.
yeah, that was one that crept up on me on Netflix, and when I watched it, I was like, "This is everything I want in an animated series." Legend of Korra, back, the crew from there, a space opera in Max, and it just really, and when that action hit, like it just flowed really well. And I hate that you can't even buy the collected edition or the collected series on Blu-ray, on digital, on DVD.
Mhm.
It's just like, are they holding it for like a special moment? But yeah, that was at the beginning of Netflix's, I think, start, kind of push into animation, making very quality animation. And I know it was like in partnership with DreamWorks, but that was kind of a big one for them for a while. So
Yeah.
That was a series that I think there are a couple of comics based on it.
yeah,
Other than that, I don't know where you would even go to get something on
from
the
Line
Amazon.
Forge, Line Forge.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Lionel, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that was one. Yeah, definitely check it out if you can. What we're gonna check out now is Robert's next choice.
So for me, I'm gonna go with I'm going with The Fugitive. The reason I laugh is because one of my favorite lines from movies is from The Fugitive, where he was like, "I didn't kill my wife. I don't care." And it was just like, I the Fugitive TV series. It looks like it ran from '63 to '67. I know we have younger people watching this and saying, "Oh my God!" during the horse and buggy years, but no, yeah, back in the day when we had TVs,
The
um,
1900s.
yeah, the 1800s, yeah, the 19 aughts.
Yeah.
There was a show about Dr. Richard Kimball. He was accused of killing his wife, and so for 4 seasons, he's on the run and also trying to find the person who murdered his wife. In '93, Harrison Ford was in a movie where he played the same role, and I think Tommy Lee Jones plays he's a U.S. Marshal, right? Who is trying to capture him. So they took 4 years of TV and put it into like a 2 hour movie. And a 2 hour movie is really, really good. I will say this is one of those ones another one where it was on syndication, the original Fugitive series. So I probably caught it like a couple of times, but the one that I can definitely say for this, the movie is the one that always stands out to me. I think it was like one of the first few times that I can remember going to the movie and seeing like a movie theater and seeing like a big blockbuster summertime movie, a big blockbuster movie. And the sequence that really stands out for me is that whole train moment where he has to jump off the train before it crashes. And so you have the big set pieces, but then you have this kind of cat and mouse game between Harrison Ford's character and Tommy Lee Jones. And they just worked really well off of each other. Tommy Lee Jones is just very kind of laid back, and
Gruff.
and Harrison Ford I think this is one of those movies where he is a little bit, I mean, he's never been like amped up in movies, like, well, unless it was like, get off my plane. But in this one, there's a sense of desperation that you don't see from him in a lot of the movies that he's in. And I think that if you were a fan of the TV show, this did a really good job, I think, of kind of capturing that whole man on the run vibe, and giving you just kind of like a really fun action movie. I don't know if the the sequel was needed, the U.S. Marshals. Yeah, I mean, it's fun because I do think that they do a good job of building up, introducing a really good team of U.S. Marshals that Tommy Lee Jones's character works with. But yeah, I mean, if you want to watch the the previous one, go and check it out. But I think the movie is probably my favorite between as a remake as compared to the original series.
Yes. We have stepping in here as Michael Williams, another correspondent for this show, who's been off. He's actually off on Mars, filming a new movie about apparently Matt Damon has to get off of this, has to get off Mars somehow. So he's got to science the shit out of that. Obviously, that's a deep cut. It's a deep cut, but actually, yeah, the lines from that movie are very quotable, because it's Tommy Lee Jones. He just somebody said Tommy Lee Jones always looks like a disappointed father if you told him that you're quitting college, that you're quitting medical school to become a clown.
Mm-hmm.
He has that disappointed father look like, oh, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, slick. Oh, okay. Yeah, he just has that face. Yeah, this was a movie. I remember watching it on an impulse. I was like, okay, and just loving their chemistry. And yeah, that's one of the best. I quote that continuously when somebody says something, and I'm joking, but I don't care. Yeah. I've used the jipe numerous times online because I don't care. And I don't even think that was his line. I think he was supposed to say something else like, we have evidence. And I think he just said, yeah, I don't give a shit.
I love it.
Yeah, I remember watching a bit of the show and being about like the one-armed man.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Yeah, the one-armed man.
Yeah, the one-armed man, and that was the only. So I remember that, and it was good. Like there was a lot of, just great stuff about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, their chemistry was great because they're two older guys and doing all these crazy stunts, and they're like, "I'm tired. I want to sit down, but I got to."
You're right.
They both look like, "I'm done. I'm totally done." So yeah. What's your next one, Java?
Mine is gonna be kind of like a kickoff to like our Summerween showcase. I'm doing Nightmare on Elm Street, but I'm doing the OG. Like, it's just something about like, for anybody who has not watched like a classic like 80s horror slasher, like Nightmare on Elm Street is like the way to go. Yes, some of the effects might be outdated, but it's still a good one. I mean, when obviously I should have been watching it as a kid, but hey, it's like you go over your older cousin's house, go to Blockbuster, down, get the movie, and that's so. It's just something about one Robert Englund being like the man, the legend, the man with the claws. Like you just, it's a swag about him. And then when they did the reboot, they ruined him. They ruined Freddy Krueger as a character. I'm sorry. It's like. In the original, he was a child murderer. Like, he admitted, he's like, I know what I did. Like, I did it. There's nothing to blame. In the new one, they just accused him, and then he cried about it. He's like, I didn't do anything, but now I'm gonna get revenge on you people because you guys murdered me. I'm like, no. Freddy was bad enough. He's like, no, I did it. I'm coming after all you folk. And then if you want to kill him, I'm still gonna come after kids in your dreams. So, and also, the original one has the best. Still one of the best cinematic death scenes with Johnny Depp's character, with the pool of blood coming from his bedroom. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
there's nothing, you can't go wrong with that.
And it was a young Johnny Depp before 21 Jump Street. That's what makes it even crazier, because he's known for like that, and they're like, oh wow, like that's crazy. Yeah. Well, how do you also rank the meta version of Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like the cast?
New Nightmare.
Yeah, yes, thank
you.
New
Nightmare.
Yeah, New Nightmare.
Raven's Nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where they break the fourth wall. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. Okay.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that was scary before Scream. I mean, well, that's still Wes Craven, right? That's still Wes Craven.
So, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that doesn't get talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of there, because you always hear about movies having like cursed sets.
Yeah.
Things happen. And I love the idea of that being a curse. And Robert Englund, and you see Robert Englund as this nice guy who's just this actor, and he's like, you see him outside of it. And it's so cool to see the two different, like actual Robert Englund and then Robert Englund in the suit, and him being terrified.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see him terrified in movies, because he's just the one terrifying someone. So I like seeing that. Yeah, that's one that you don't get. That is one of my favorite horror movies. I should have watched that as a kid. We did not have Blockbuster at that time. It did not exist. I was going to Phaser Video. Shout out to Red Bank. You all know where that is. Um, and yeah, that was a thing. And it has one of the most iconic movie posters ever, with Freddy's glove and the claws over Nancy's head.
My mom has all 4 of the VHSs, so like I admire the box art. Yeah, so she has like the original VHS tape. So I admire the box art from all 4 movies. Those are like it's just like it's like that time of like movie posters and like box art for that. It's just so good. Like you can't get that anywhere really anymore. Just like the artistic style of it. Love it.
I think the guy who used to do them passed a couple of years ago. Like he was iconic for doing. I think he did like the Indiana Jones movies. I know there was this like iconic guy who did these movie posters that when you look at that poster, you just know you get that same tingle in the back of your neck. You get that feeling you're about to go into a theater. I believe he passed a couple of years ago.
I think I know you're talking about. Yeah,
I can't remember his name unfortunately. Michael probably knows his name off the top of his head. He's probably got him in his Rolodex. But it's that was just one of those movies that still sticks with me. Honestly, that one does, because in your sleep, and it opened up a whole different world of thinking about horror too. And it's Wes Craven. Wes Craven just does that thing that you, just do. I don't know if we don't need remakes. We don't necessarily need remakes ever, but if you can improve on the original, then I'm cool with it. But if you're just doing it just to do it, we don't need it. But if you can improve on the original somehow in some way, shape, or form, then I'm cool with it. That's just my thought process, what have you.
It depends. Because I feel like I feel like Friday 13th, it was like constant like new series. Like it was like we were like Jason 6, 7, Jason X, and then the man's in space. Then he's like joined the military and stuff like that. And then like we got like a actual reboot of the entire thing. Where like, was it really needed? Because I think it was drawn out way too much for me. With Nightmare on Elm Street, we kind of stopped at like those 5 movies before the reboot, and I'm like, I was good with that. No, I wasn't good with Freddy versus Jason. That was like, for me, even though it was really bad, but I still enjoyed it. It's like a guilty pleasure to watch. But I'm like,
I would say that's a different argument between sequels versus reboot or remake.
Well, I mean,
at a certain point, I think those are the only movies that I'll allow the sequels, because they were just so ridiculous. At a certain point, you're like, let's just see how these. It's almost like the Final Destination movies. We didn't need all of them. Actually, that one actually kind of does actually end in a really great way in the way that it ends. But at a certain point, you're just like, I want to see how these idiots are going to die.
Yeah,
you start rooting for the malevolent force.
And I'm thinking about like something like The Exorcist, right? So we had the original one, and then now there's one coming up done by Mike Flanagan. And, even though the first one will always be one of the scariest movies of all time, I don't mind seeing somebody like Flanagan trying, putting his stamp on it, or at least trying to, if it is, because it sounds like it's a remake. So I do think, though, that part of that conversation about these remakes is like a lot of, at least when it comes to the movies, is, these are safe bets for Hollywood. So it's this thing of like, because the first one did well, there's a guarantee that we're going to have people come out and rewatch this other one because we're worried about putting money behind a fresh idea. So it's like, do you still support it? Because it's not bringing anything. It might be bringing something new, but the major reason that these companies are doing it is because we got people who are going to go out and see them, because it's like partly nostalgia, but it's also like more of a safe bet. For me, as long as it's good, I'm not one of those types who are just like, it destroyed the original. My childhood is dead. It's just like, no, you can go back. Guess what? We got this thing called streaming. We got things called DVDs and Blu-rays. They don't destroy something that that makes you happy. So like, to answer, like Mike's question about, the remakes, I think that always has to be a part of the conversation, because you can get cynical about remakes, right? But there has been some really good stuff that's kind of surpassed the originals in some cases. But yeah.
like I said, as long as it improves on it,
Mhm.
then it's cool. But we don't ever need a remake of anything, unless something horrifically happened. Like unless it's something, unless it. The only thing that I think we should get remakes of, really, I mean, well, honestly, that doesn't make
Beat
sense.
Street.
Like, I mean, it's stuff that's like really bad, that had a great base story, a great premise, but it was just executed horribly.
Mm.
Like you just like, what the hell did y'all do? You know what I mean? Like if somebody was like, say, oh, Biodome had a great premise, it should be remade. I don't know why you pulling that out of your ass, but okay, that's to pull a Pauly Shore a Pauly Shore movie out of your ass is wild, but okay, that's you do you. Maybe they're right. I don't know. It is kind of a wild premise about what. And I don't know, whatever. Oh, my choice. Yes,
I went
my
that down.
choice. Choice. Obviously, I'm stuck in the '80s in animation. I'm going to say Thundercats.
Mm.
Now, there were two series for Thundercats. There was one in '85. Excuse me. Then there was a remake. That actually was in 2011. Well, I shouldn't say remake, but more of a reboot. Similar process for both of them, but with the '85 series, look, this was got home from school, did my homework, sitting down and watching. I think it was 3 o'clock on Channel 5 Fox. Shout out to everybody. If you know, at that after school cartoons were it. That was it. You know what I mean? But this was one of those shows that you came home and that was it. The dentist, there were these cat-like, it's a mixture of human and cat, let's say, beings that lived on a planet called Thundera, hence Thundercats. And the planet is exploding, it's breaking apart, it's no longer there. So this group of survivors that are kind of like the guard for young Prince Lion-O, as well as his guardian, Jaga, take their ship and they fly to Third Earth, which ends up becoming, which is actually like our Earth. As far as like the look of it, looks kind of like our Earth, except it has this. I had a map as a kid of the things that were on this planet, like the quicksand, like the sand area, all of that, the ice. It was such a cool premise, but there wasn't there wasn't really too much of a story. The overarching thing was Lion-O, because they were put in suspended animation. So Lion-O grew up in this tube. So he had the body of this, like maybe I want to say in his late 20s, early 30s man, but he still had the mind of like an adolescent, like a teenager who still had to learn these lessons. And it was about him maturing on this planet and being the lord of the Thundercats, because Jaga had passed because he was the one flying the ship through this. And it became about him growing older, maturing. But then there was also one of the biggest things I remember. It was a 5-episode arc, was the trial of the Thundercats. And it was him truly becoming the Lord of the Thundercats. And he had to face each of the Thundercats in their perspective specialty. He had to match Panthro's strength. He had to have the guile of Tigra. He had to have the cunning of Wily Kit and Wily Cat. And he had to beat Chitara in a race. And it was one of the coolest things possible to watch. And then they had other arcs, what have you. And then they had the one about the lunatics, or I can't remember, but it was these enemies that were based on the moon. Lunatic, I can't remember the actual name. But then there was always Mumra as well. Mumra and the mutants. No, not the X-Men. These were mutants. But when you look at the series from 2011, shout out to Brandon Easton, who was on it as well. Another comic book link there, obviously. Thank you. Who did phenomenal work on this. It's a much deeper show where they show that there was a caste system where the lion pride, like the more cats, were the ones at the top, and the others, like the lizard people, the hyena people, the gorilla people, what have you, were like treated like slaves and subservient. And there was an uprising, so they had to leave. They was like, we out. Okay, we got to go. And then they again they go to Third Earth, and there's much more of an arc there where Tigra and Lion-O are actually adopted brothers, but Tigra's older and he's jealous of the fact that Lion-O is the one that becomes Lord of the Thundercats. And there's this kind of 3-way love triangle with Chitara. it just is a deeper series, and there's so much more. When I saw the cast system, I was like, oh wow. They also had a possible illusion of maybe working in Silverhawks. And also, this is the deepest cut I'll probably ever say on the show, Tiger Sharks. And nobody knows that. Damn. Dead air. Holy crap. Look up Tiger Sharks. I lived in Florida when this show was on. It was SWAT Cats, Tiger Sharks. It was another show on this anthology show called like Comic Strip or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the best shows I'd ever watched. That and SWAT Cats were amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna go. You see it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I go with the 2011 version. Yeah, it just has a depth of story that wasn't there, and we only got one season. I want to say. I think we only got one season of it. Yeah, one season. It was 26 episodes, which you all know I don't really like long seasons, obviously. But this show was just so good and so smart and well written and acted and phenomenal fight scenes, and it just had a really great story that I think should have been explored way more. This was one that was cut way too short.
Yeah, because I remember when the one in 2011 came out, and yeah, I wish we had gotten it a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean that's the original. That's my childhood. That and a bunch of other shows. But yeah, that was definitely like I can see the intro in my head, just like the anime. And for somebody who wasn't used to animation that was that fast paced, because I'm assuming like was that animated overseas, or was it a Western? Because it to me it felt like it had an anime type of vibe. So
because the way he was jumping around with that sword, and he finally goes, I can picture it in my head. Yeah, I want to say, you know how sometimes they would put a lot of money into one part, and then the other parts they would be like, all right, so what we got left?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how anime was around then, but it does look like it was done overseas because it
was Japan. The original animated one, yeah.
Yeah, because that and Voltron were my introductions into Japanese animation. So I don't know if it was directly you would call those anime, but you know, looking at the Thundercats, you know, versus like how some of our cartoon characters would like, you know, for some of the stuff that I grew up with, that was like my first, like one of the first like action shows that looked like it was just killing it. So yeah, but that, like I said, that's my childhood.
Yeah. Good job. But what's your next choice?
So my next one is going to be a good old classic of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We're talking about the 1971 version with the Gene Wilder. Oh, love it so much. Unfortunately, as much as I love Johnny Depp, this was not his best film. It made him look like a certain file. If we'll go there, and I'm like, yeah, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Yep, we're going that way. Even though apparently I think with the newer one, it was more based on the books. But one thing is, though, it was done by Tim Burton. And we all know Tim Burton has a type when it comes to his filmography. It's dark, dreary, and not that much color.
Literally.
Yes, you're right on that one. So I'd rather go with the 1971 version because it's such a nostalgic feel, and I'm glad that it's now getting more attention on Disney Plus because it's now Disney Plus for you to watch.
Yeah,
I think the only thing that tripped me out was when they were in like that tunnel scene and like Wonka was like having like an acid trip, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live sketch for that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
go look it up.
You look it up. It is very dark and weird and effed up. But yeah.
I have to look it up now. But it's like you can't go wrong. Like there's so many lines that if you watch Willy Wonka and Chocolate, like you could cite where it's like, you lose. So I said good day. And they just walk right out. Because if you know, you know you're not effed up when you get that line.
Gene Wilder. I don't.
Yeah.
One of the greatest to ever do it in any field. I mean, let alone him and what him and Pryor were doing. Then putting him into this survival horror movie.
That's exactly yes.
Let's not act like
Yeah.
it's not. Like we should be like that game. Into what's that survival horror game that everybody plays? Into the Light or
Oh,
Until Dawn.
Dead by
no, no,
Daylight.
no.
Yeah, no, but
No,
yeah,
yeah.
Dead by
they need
Daylight.
to have a Wonka
That
like
would
version
actually be
of it.
amazing.
Bet
Yeah,
because
the traps on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
he's murdering children throughout. Well, okay, if not outright, he is harming those children to teach them a lesson, and I love
I
that
mean,
about it.
they're badass kids anyway, so like they
Yeah.
deserved it.
but it's to have Wilder, who was such a comedic actor, like known for more
Yeah.
comedy. Him and Mel Brooks doing some of the most iconic stuff possible, obviously. And to have him in that movie, and Gene Wilder was such a triple threat with being able to sing and just perform in so many. I'm a Gene Wilder fan.
Mhm.
And him and Gilda Radner, her passing so young and everything and dying. It's just such a great thing. But seeing him in that role, when I know him from it prior,
Mhm.
I know the two of them, just being the total goofballs and being polar opposites and being so funny. And then seeing him basically just do the worst things to these kids. And not once do you think that he's a kind of file at all. You just think this dude is going to get rid of these kids because they bad shit. And the parents are horrible too. Yeah. So yeah. That's a no-brainer pick. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's an absolute gem of one. Now I need to go watch that.
You know what? I will say this now. If you think about it now, Wonka's expression for a lot of things is the millennials right now, where it's like, oh no, everything's on fire. Oh, help. It's like, we told you so. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, we said this. Like, oh, okay. Help. Call them Oompa
When in doubt, quote Gene Wilder from any movie he's ever done. Because the line will completely make sense. Any movie you go to, something was happening the other day, and somebody said something they were smart, but they were wrong. And they were like, oh, well, you know what? I don't need any help, whatever. And I quoted a line from See No Evil, Hear No Evil. And I go, well, okay, miss, you're a hot shit. And I just walked off. Because this is such iconic lines, just amazing. I know Robert's going to give us an iconic line with his next choice. Yes.
I just want to do one more shout out.
Yes.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets? Type 2 diabetes. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong.
Every time. Every time. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're honestly not wrong.
You can go, Robert.
Yes, Rob. Go ahead.
So, for me, I'm going back to something I've discussed on this show before, Mission Impossible. As obsessed as I am with the film series, Mission Impossible was another one of those shows that I watched like sporadically. So it wasn't like I was sitting down watching Mission Impossible all the time. And then when the movie came out, I was like Mission Impossible as a kid because my voice was that high, apparently. But from what I remember of the show, you have the crew, they go out, do their spy stuff, and then that was that. But when the movie came out, I don't know, I was just like a kid who just loved like the blockbusters. And I think this one came out in 96. Actually, wow, that was when I moved to Georgia, which is weird. Brings back a lot of memories. Anyways, so this took the formula of and it's funny, I think the first movie takes the formula of the TV show, and with the group going on a mission and them working together, and then the movie kills them all off. That was and I think that kind of took people like aback, because when you watch the TV series, it is all about, teamwork and everybody working together. And with making that joke about, everybody dying, his first team, you do still get that teamwork aspect in like the later movies, but especially in this one with Ving Rhames. I can never remember the French guy's name. He was in the professional. Leon? No, not Leon.
Jean.
and let me see. And I actually have it here. It's Krieger. Yeah, his name is John Reno, but Krieger,
Yeah,
Luther, and then Claire. So he does have a team, Ethan Hunt's character. But what happens in this movie and in later movies, it becomes the Tom Cruise show, and it's something that I kind of people you just kind of accept, with the series because this becomes like his series. But some people might say that whole connection of the team being kind of at the forefront, like you saw in the original TV series, is kind of lost because it becomes like the Tom Cruise show. It becomes the Ethan Hunt show, with him always being at the forefront. But as far as with this movie, um, it's a kind of a crime caper mixed in with like an espionage thriller. They have some really awesome set pieces that have been I should like stolen, outright. The whole scene with him going into the CIA building, with being on the wire work and then on the top of the tree, on top of the train. What was it? Red light, green light, and then he just blows up the train. He kills John Voight. Um,
Spoiler
Shout
alert.
out, yeah,
Spoiler
spoiler
alert.
alert. Yeah, for like a movie that is what, how many years old? Like
I always love
20,
it.
30. But yeah, it's so I think the first movie does a good job of capturing that team feel, that team vibe, even though it's kind of fighting against Tom Cruise, the Tom Cruiseness of it all. And I think in later movies in this series, it becomes less about the team and more about Tom Cruise running everywhere. Even though I think you do have some really good sequences with the team, but like I said, if you are a fan of the TV series, I can understand like watching these movies and being like, "What the hell is going on?" Versus like if you watch like In the Heat of the Night, the movie, and then the TV show, you can kind of see there's some type of relation, but I think even though I do love this franchise, I think this is a really good example of the movie series kind of taking its own path, because one person is the producer, is like the biggest producer of the series. But it's action packed, lots of special effects, and there are twists and turns in the movie if you haven't seen it. So I definitely recommend checking it out. But I think between these two, because I'm more familiar with the movie, that one's always going to be my favorite. So
Yeah, it does become more. I think it's the second movie, like kind of just knocks everything out because it's a John Woo action flick. And nothing
yeah,
against John Woo. I actually love John Woo. But I think with the last two or last three movies, it becomes more about a team. It it feels like more about a team than other ones. But
mhm,
some of the stuff that he does, I'll give Tom Cruise credit. That boy
yeah,
be hanging off stuff. He run and he hang off stuff.
yeah.
He he does white people shit better than any white person I've ever seen in my life. He does. And this boy's cardio, and he's, I think, how old is he?
Has to be in the 60s.
I want to say maybe
Something like
60
that.
like that.
Yeah.
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 And his cardio is peak.
Hmm.
Like he should play Batman because he's like got like Olympic level like athleticism. Even though he's like my height, he's like maybe 5'5" or something like that. But these are movies that are beautiful. If you do get a chance to watch the original series, it is very espionage,
Yeah.
spy, covert. We also get to see Mr. Morris in there, which is awesome.
Hmm.
There was a sequel to the series too, where Phil Morris was in that, and
Hmm.
I think he even played the son of the original character because I think they had him on there a couple of times. But that was a great movie series. It was. Um, for me, my next one, Interview with the Vampire. Um, I
Mhm.
remember the first one, the movie coming out. Excuse me, the movie versus the series. The movie, which was from I want to say '94 because I was in high school at the time.
Yeah.
'94, yes.
Hmm.
And then the series, obviously, which is still ongoing right now, which has morphed into Vampire Lestat, and then I believe it's going to be morphing into Queen of the Damned.
The damned.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So we have like the whole immortal universe with Anne Rice. But Interview with the Vampire, this was Tom Cruise again, but no running. Just eating rats. We have Tom Cruise, we have Brad Pitt, we have Kirsten Dunst. Um, else there was
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas, Stephen Ray, uh, yeah, like I said, Christian Slater. This was the movie that kind of started the love of I shouldn't say started the love, but started like the live action, because I think there was supposed to be more than just Interview with the Vampire and Vampire Lestat for the movies. But this are two. They both have the same basis, but they go in very different directions. Where the series is about like a mentor mentee in a way, and Lestat being abusive and being almost a tyrant and not letting them live their lives, and telling Louis, well, if you want another person to speak to, go ahead and make yourself a vampire. It ends up, they end up turning this little girl, but then she cannot age. So she's this middle-aged woman in this body. Even when she tries to cut, there's a scene where she cuts her hair, and the hair grows right back to the length that it was when she was brought across. And I always felt horrible. I was like, that's such. I would. Oh my god, I couldn't imagine that. And then we have the series, which has been absolutely phenomenal and so amazing. And it shows it as more of a love story between Louis and Lestat. We also have a change of Louis Pondulac is black, and they're also a queer couple who end up getting Claudia, and also almost becomes like their daughter, but also kind of like a sister to Louis. And you see how they are as a couple, and phenomenal acting. I got Jacob and Anderson and Sam Reed do the most amazing job. Their chemistry is absolutely beautiful and unmatched in whatever scene it is, whether it's a love scene, whether it's them just talking, or whether they had this incredible fight, which I don't care what you say, that fight was Lestat being an incredibly abusive partner. But we also get this thing about unreliable narrator, which is one of the things I love about movies. And you're starting to see they both have two different sets of memories from what happened. And it's like he said, but done in this very darkly comedic, because Lestat can be funny at times. He's very much a jerk, but he can be very funny about what he's saying in a way. And then going into season 2, we see that there was this amazing turn at the end that I actually want to rewatch, because you see it and you go, oh my God. And you can kind of see something is wrong, but you're not sure what. It just, both are great. I enjoy both, but again, the mining of more depth and changing things around. And it's funny how a little thing can change, or maybe two little things, and it throws the story in a whole different direction. And it becomes this other beautiful masterpiece that you can both cherish both, but in different ways. But I gotta say the TV series, because you're able to get more out of the characters. You see this love. It's almost similar to how I say, look, X-Men, do it as Magneto and Professor X are X's, and it changes the entire scope of the whole series, which is how I look at it, honestly. I look at them as two X's, or maybe even unrequited love, like they never got together. Yeah. And Magneto was mad because they didn't. Like, I always look at it in that way, because yes, at some point they did something. I don't know how far they went, first base, second base, third base, I don't know, but they played ball. And that's the last sports metaphor I have for you. Yeah, it's just a phenomenal series, and I recommend going to watch it, or watch like the whole like Immortal universe. But I definitely feel like Interview with the Vampire, the TV series, AMC, is phenomenal stuff. Absolutely.
Nice.
Jabo, what is your last pick?
My last one is going to be another horror, and it's, I can't choose between the two because they're both great. Like from the 1990s version versus was it the 2017 version? They both have their shine. Because like one, it's Tim Curry. Like, come on, like that man has range. And the fact that it was like done on ABC as like a mini series is like, okay, so they can only do so much. And then once we got like the actual movie, and like they really went in depth with like Bill's what's his name? Bill Skarsgård?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think he's a phenomenal actor because I'm actually watching him in Castle Rock. Decided to go into that one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
But it's like I like both adaptations of it, so it's like I can't choose between the two. Like, okay, 2017 has like more special effects because it's they have more technology versus like what they had to do in like the 90s. So it's like both. And if you can watch both, honestly.
No.
I might say this the second series. Tim Curry, always, forever and ever, forever. Tim Curry, yes. But I think the second series might be the one that gets me just because we get the prequel of Welcome to Derry and it's linked to it.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that might be why it edges out, but not by much. Maybe by like a hair, but that's about it. Also, John Ritter. I'm a fan of John. The first movie, like John Ritter, John Ritter has a very special place in my heart from my childhood. So yes, John Ritter.
And Frank from Frank's Place. No, Tim Reed.
Yes.
Yeah, Tim Reed is in it.
He's been around for everything and seen. He's very low key.
Mm-hmm.
Venus Flytrap, man. That was my WKRP in Cincinnati. That was damn Tim Reed. Awesome. Yeah. Robert, what's your last pick?
Oh, so for me, you know what? I'm gonna throw a football term, audible. Make it quick. I'm going with DuckTales. I'm going with DuckTales. I got inspired with the animated movies the animated shows that were chosen. And the original DuckTales, which I want to say is 93, 94 without, doing the type, was a show that I watched, and it was a part of a block of TV, animated TV. Whenever we came home, Monday through Friday, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, Tailspin, which was the oddest. Like when you break down Tailspin, it is odd as hell. And I love it. And Darkwing Duck. And DuckTales was a really good show. It was, Scrooge McDuck and his nephews and Launchpad McQuack and a bunch of other characters. They would go on adventures across the world in Duckburg and go on adventures. And it was fun. And it has one of the best opening theme songs of all time. Mm-hmm. That is a banger. But when this new one came out in the 20-aughts, or the 2010s, or I can't remember the dates, I didn't watch it when it was on Disney, right? So this is one of those things that when we got Disney Plus, and Disney Plus was like, look, we got all this stuff, you better watch it. I was like, okay, I better watch it. And I watched it like a crackhead because this is an example of a remake that, once again, possibly didn't need to be done. But when they did it, they were like, let's make it our own. And the humor reminds me of like kind of this deadpan Parks and Recreation, Office style of humor. The voice acting actually has a few actors from those shows and from even Saturday Night Live. And they do really, really good work. And the scope of the world is expanded even further than what we had in the original series, and even brings in elements from like Darkwing Duck, right? And so they're like, we got 3 or 4 seasons to do what we can. We're going to make this big, and it was a fun show. It was a fun show. Anytime you can have Doctor Who in the show, doing the voice of Scrooge McDuck,
yes,
it is excellent, and it is something that I think that both adults who grew up with the series back in the early to mid 90s can enjoy with their kids, right? This is like one of those kind of bridge series. And the same way that I think like Voltron Legendary Defender is, right? But yeah, I was beyond impressed. And and it is one of those shows that I go back to because Disney Plus was like, hey, you better watch it. So but between the two, it might have to be. I'm sorry, I can't choose. I can't choose between those two. But definitely, if you want a remake that does really, really well, another animated series, check out DuckTales. I wish they would do the same with Tailspin. Man, that would be it for me. But yeah.
Yeah, Tailspin didn't make any sense at all.
I was just like, this the Jungle Book. Like, what is
it's like Cloud Kicker? Like he's actually like gliding on clouds and everything. I was like, Yeah, it's one of the most wild shows out there
Yeah,
that makes no. It's out of all
yeah,
the shows, which is weird because they all none of them make sense.
yeah.
It's the one that makes the least amount of sense.
He's like, it's a delivery service. Baloo is flying a plane.
Yeah,
It's like FedEx in the sky, and they're being attacked by pirates.
Yeah.
I
And they,
actually, I actually like the Sky Pirate part. I actually like
oh,
that
I
part.
love.
I
I
like
mean, I love
pirates,
everything about it.
but it's what it makes literally no sense. Nothing.
There was a lot of cocaine taken that day for the pitch.
There was, but I still wanted to blend it in with the rest of the universe,
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
though it's the one that they don't talk about,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. Yeah, that was. I actually have to watch that. I only watched a bit of it, and I heard David Tennant, and I said, "Oh yes, please give me all that Scottish." Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm a big Scottish accent fan, big Scottish like actor fan. So yeah, that's a yeah, that one hits. For me, it's Fantastic Four.
Mm.
Now, we don't normally hear the word remake with comic book movies. We always hear about it being an adaptation of the comic or comic book movie. We never hear about like remakes. There have been a few
Yeah, I was
Fantastic
gonna say,
Four
which
movies.
one are you talking about?
Exactly. I'm going to be nice and I'm going to go with the 2005 one and then
Okay.
Fantastic Four First Steps.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be nice because I don't, you know what? Michael B. Jordan has redeemed himself in a huge way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
2005 movie was like our big introduction
Mhm.
or yeah our biggest introduction to the Fantastic Four in a live action. We had a movie previously to that in the 80s, but I don't really remember it too much because we had that in Justice League back then that was live action and it was some weird wild mess. Go look it up. The costumes at the time you got to forgive it, but what have you. So yeah, this one was great. This is our introduction, obviously. We get Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and the Thing. And we also get Doom, who is played by Julian McMahon, who has recently passed. That's one of the reasons why I picked this is because of Doom, and he did such a great job with Doom and being arrogant, and he always played a jerk so well.
Mhm.
Cole, so he was just an awesome actor. But this is also the first foray that we get of Chris Evans
Yeah.
for that. I actually enjoyed this movie. I saw it in theaters. I really enjoyed it because we were getting a different side of something different, and we thought we might be getting more of these Marvel movies coming in, which is awesome. But then when I saw Fantastic Four First Steps, which is from 2025, obviously, again, this is Pedro Pascal. We have Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss, Baccarin, hope I'm pronouncing the name properly, and Joseph Quinn. This one was more retro feeling. It felt like you were looking at one of the old Marvel cartoons from like back in the 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
which I kind of nostalgically like those, oddly enough. Just because they're so different and the animation is so blocky. And you can tell where they were saving money with doing certain things, which is what I love seeing. I liked it because of that fact, because it was more retro, because of a different feel, because it had it, even their clothes.
Yeah.
I look at costumes and uniforms and character design clothes all the time, and I loved it. I was like, I want that jacket. I want a jacket like that. It just looked cool, and I love the feeling of it. And we got Galactus not as a storm,
Yeah.
but as an actual being, and we also got Franklin. And at the very end, we get the image or well the review of Doom holding Franklin. I'm gonna go with this one. I First Steps because it's cool. It was a refreshing thing. People get mad. Oh, Adrian, Pascal is in everything. Shut up. He's working. Look, this dude started like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's
Yeah.
come a long way. And half of y'all don't even remember him in Buffy because that's how long it's been and he's come. So I'm not mad at him for that. And he did a great job in playing Reed, who's this self-obsessed, man who still loves his family, but what have you. And I just thought it was such a great drama that happened to be a comic book movie.
Mhm.
With a bit of a sci-fi. It almost reminded me of like the right stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mhm.
with superpowers in a comic book.
Yep.
I kind of like that. So that's the one for me. Um, Look, we could do another episode like this, truthfully.
Yeah.
All right, because I didn't even get to ask you guys what was your worst remake, but we could do that another time. So.
Ooh.
Exactly, but you'd only get to pick one because I don't want it to be too negative. But look, there's a bunch of remakes out there. We're going to be getting some more this year, I believe. I think Highlander's coming out this year. I think either this year or next year.
Sometime.
I think
in the future.
Yeah, but look, those are the ones that we enjoyed. I hope you're able to find them. A lot of them you will. You won't find them on streaming. Check them out. Watch the original. Watch the old. Watch the ones in between. See which one you like the most. But whatever you do, enjoy the ones that you do watch. If you don't like it, stop watching it. Don't hate watching anything. Doesn't make any sense. Don't waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
Watch stuff that you like. That should be very important. So we're gonna get out of here. Excuse me. But yeah, let us know what's your favorite remake. What do you like? What's one that you think really deserves to be remade that didn't get a really good first outing? Let us know. So on behalf of the Summer of Geek series, I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room.
Here you go, Job Chan with the new headphones and the braids. Yes, yes.
And I'm Robert Jeffrey II. All right.
And there you go, you folks. Yes, he's one of the best. This is a shoot. This is not me, whatever, blowing smoke because I don't have the time, patience, energy, or the hairline. I truthfully, I don't have the time, the energy, the hairline, or the sperm count to blow smoke. I truly don't. I don't care enough to do that. He is one of the best writers out there. Before I knew him as a person, I knew him as a writer, and I loved the work that he did in Route 3. And then I found out that he was in the group that I created on Facebook. And then back and forth talking, meeting, and he's one of the best people I could ever possibly know without the writing part, just him being a human being. He's one of the best people I know. And as a writer, he is one of the best out there, bottom line, bar none. I'm not even going to debate that. That's it. I'm not.
Thank you all.
That's it. All right. So y'all have a very good evening. Enjoy the rest of it. Please be safe. And as always, drink water, take your vitamins, and take your meds, whether it's for physical, mental, or emotional ailment, because we want you to be the best you that you can be. And yes, I am angry, but I still will say a positive thing. Do a wonderful thing today. And happy new comic book day, folks. Enjoy what you read. And we will see you later. Peace. 2 buttons always. Always 2 buttons. I hate that.